I've seen her go into a rage spiral. Oh my God. And most people's violence with her, it's just baking.
What happens when one of Hollywood's most charming couples finds themselves entangled in a scandal that even their closest friends can't ignore? Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds built their reputation on witty social media banter and picture-perfect public appearances, but recent events have shattered that pristine facade. Fractures are growing in their once solid circle, pulling in everyone from pop superstar Taylor Swift to director Justin Baldoni, best-selling author Colleen Hoover, and even members of Blake's own family. One by one, people are either distancing themselves from the couple or quietly criticizing how they handle their affairs. The question on everyone's mind is simple. Why? The unraveling of Blake and Ryan's shining persona happened swiftly, but had been brewing for a long time. Beneath every polished Instagram post, behind every comedic red carpet interview, something else was taking shape. A story of betrayals, shifting loyalties, and allegations that might leave even the most casual observer stunned. This isn't just another Hollywood spat. It's a deep dive into how fame, influence, and personal ambition can collide and leave behind a tangled web of broken friendships. In the next chapters, we'll journey through how each bond began, where it all went wrong, and how the fallout has become nearly impossible for Blake and Ryan to manage. Secrets are coming to light, alliances are shifting, and the outcome might alter the power dynamics of some of Tinseltown's biggest names. Whether you stan Taylor Swift, devour Colleen Hoover novels, or simply love a good behind-the-scenes Hollywood story, this saga has something that will leave you fascinated and possibly questioning everything you thought you knew about celebrity friendships. But that's not the entire story. Far from it. Let's start with the most surprising rift of them all, the once glowing relationship between Blake Lively and Taylor Swift. For years, the friendship between Blake Lively and Taylor Swift seemed to be pure magic. Taylor would gush about Blake on social media. They'd vacation together in picture-perfect locales, and occasionally show up on each other's Instagram feeds in heartwarming ways. Ryan Reynolds, ever the comedic sidekick, often slid right into this social media synergy. Fans loved the idea that both couples, Blake and Ryan, and Taylor and whoever she was dating at the time, were in each other's orbits, sharing private jokes and mutual support. Things escalated to a point where Taylor even slipped in references to Blake and Ryan's kids in her music, a testament to how tightly knit these families appeared to be. They were vacation buddies, cameo-ready comedic partners, and basically the gold standard for a healthy, modern celebrity friendship. Observers saw nothing but closeness until the cracks started to appear. Rumors emerged that Blake had leveraged Taylor's influence to pressure It Ends With Us director Justin Baldoni during a dispute over creative direction. The whispers suggested that Blake frequently name-dropped Taylor, implying that if Justin didn't give in to her demands, Taylor Swift's colossal platform and fan base might suddenly become a problem for him. This stunned a lot of people because Taylor has always been vocal about controlling her own image, and being used without her consent is practically her worst nightmare. As soon as the rumor mill caught wind of this alleged manipulation, fans started asking where Taylor stood in all this. At first, neither Taylor nor her team made any public statement. Then stories swirled about how she distanced herself, quietly erasing future appearances with Blake and Ryan, leaving them off certain invite lists. Subtle moves, but enough for Swifties to suspect that the once solid bond was on shaky ground. If there's one thing Taylor hates, it's being drawn into someone else's battle without her agreement. Before long, observers realized the tension was bigger than just rumor. Private text messages supposedly hinted at how deeply Blake had tried to involve Taylor. Some even claim that she referred to her as a dragon she could unleash on command. Whether accurate or not, the very suggestion that Blake might treat Taylor's massive influence like a bargaining chip struck many fans as unsettling. The narrative became clear. Blake, for some reason, was using every tool at her disposal to get her way, and Taylor Swift was one of the biggest tools of all. But that wasn't the whole story. Other personalities were about to chime in, shifting the focus to a project that had become ground zero for tension. It Ends With Us. At first, Colleen Hoover's It Ends With Us was simply a best-selling novel on track to become a major motion picture. Fans of the book were thrilled at the announcement of a big-screen adaptation. Then came the revelation that Blake Lively would star, with Justin Baldoni set to direct. Everything seemed poised to launch yet another massive, cross-media success. But behind the scenes, the synergy was far from perfect. Insiders say that not long after the initial buzz, Tension flared between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni over creative control, script rewrites, production details, the usual friction points in Hollywood. Yet rumors claim that Blake took it to a new level, possibly pushing for changes that overshadow Justin's vision. Some even say that her demands went beyond typical leading lady involvement. This, apparently, is when she allegedly invoked Taylor Swift's name as leverage. Where did Colleen Hoover stand amid this? Initially, she championed Blake Lively as a fantastic choice for the film. She spoke highly of Blake in public interviews, praising her star power and the excitement she brought to the project. However, as the dispute escalated, Hoover unexpectedly deactivated her social media accounts. When she came back, she shockingly removed every post praising Blake Lively and apparently severed ties online with the star. From the outside, it looked like Colleen had made a dramatic pivot, and quickly. The word on the street is that promises were made to Hoover about her creative involvement, or at least about how certain elements of the adaptation would remain faithful to her story. It's also rumored that Blake had publicly declared her admiration for Hoover, only to ignore or steamroll the author's input once real work on the film began. Those whispers intensified when the possibility of Hoover filing a lawsuit against Blake and Ryan Reynolds surfaced, with claims about broken promises or even contractual violations. Still, Hoover has mostly stayed silent, leaving her actions to speak for themselves. A sudden wave of unfollows and wiped out posts told fans everything they needed to know. Colleen Hoover no longer wanted to be associated with Blake Lively, distancing herself like that hinted at serious betrayal or disappointment. She even took the extraordinary step of erasing all references to Lively, fueling suspicions that she'd seen or experienced something that changed her perspective. But that wasn't the end of the story either. While Colleen Hoover quietly removed herself from the conversation, Blake's own family was about to toss another grenade into the situation. Bart Johnson isn't just some random Hollywood face. Best known for playing Coach Bolton in the High School Musical series, he also happens to be Blake Lively's brother-in-law. Married to Blake's sister, Robin Lively, Bart entered the feud with gusto when the tension between Blake and Justin Baldoni first went public. Early on, Bart was Team Blake all the way. He posted vague, but biting comments on social media that seemed aimed squarely at Baldoni, criticizing certain performative attitudes and disingenuous behaviors. The internet was quick to connect the dots. Justin Baldoni is known for his introspective, soulful approach, often sporting a distinctive man bun. It didn't take much sleuthing for fans to deduce that Bart's words probably targeted Justin. But in an unexpected reversal, Bart Johnson changed his tune. More evidence about the Blake-Justin conflict emerged, including alleged receipts that put Lively in a less than flattering light. Suddenly, Bart backtracked, issuing a public apology that felt more like a carefully curated damage control statement than a genuine admission of guilt. He said he regretted speaking badly about anyone, insisting his comments weren't aimed at a specific individual. However, people weren't convinced, and the timing of his apology seemed to confirm he was distancing himself from Blake's narrative. This small but telling reversal sent shockwaves through fans. If you can't rely on your own family, who can you rely on? The significance wasn't lost on the public. Bart Johnson's initial defense was one of Blake's most visible pillars of support. With him essentially jumping ship, it underscored just how toxic this feud might have become. Even more intriguing was his admission that he felt misled, or that he'd spoken too soon. That phrase alone could imply he'd been fed a selective version of events by Blake or Ryan, one that didn't hold up under scrutiny. And he wasn't the only one to reconsider old alliances. Another major Hollywood figure was quietly making moves that could tip the scale even further: Scarlett Johansson. Scarlett Johansson is no stranger to the Hollywood rumor mill, but she's also known for her discretion. When she and Ryan Reynolds ended their marriage in 2010, neither spilled messy details in public. Everything seemed amicable, at least as far as the media was concerned. But no one truly knows what happens behind closed doors, and for years, whispers persisted that Blake Lively had something to do with the friction in that marriage. Fast forward to the present day, and Scarlett's name has re-emerged in connection with Justin Baldoni. The two announced a film project that Scarlett would direct and Justin would help finance through his production company. On the surface, it seems like a logical Hollywood partnership. Delve a bit deeper and it looks like something else, a subtle statement. Collaborating with Justin Wright when Ryan and Blake appear to be at odds with him can easily be interpreted as Scarlett quietly siding against her ex-husband and his new partner. Hollywood watchers note that Scarlett seldom acts without intention. If she wanted to remain neutral, she could have picked a project with virtually anyone else. Instead, she chose Justin, who has become the central figure opposing Blake Lively in the It Ends With Us clash. The timing is suspiciously perfect for a bit of silent payback, especially if any leftover resentment from her marriage's collapse still lingers. More than that, the partnership calls into question the entire narrative that Ryan and Blake are beloved by all. If even Scarlett Johansson, A-list star and widely respected actress, felt compelled to pick sides, albeit without making a direct condemnation, it raises doubts about what insiders really think of this so-called power couple. In an industry built on relationships, signals like these can carry far more weight than an explicit statement. For Blake and Ryan, the disappointment doesn't end there. Another past connection has quietly aligned himself with Justin, delivering yet another blow to the couple's once impenetrable public persona. Penn Badgley and Blake Lively shared one of Hollywood's most talked about young romances. They met on the set of Gossip Girl, where they played star-crossed lovers whose on-screen chemistry clearly translated off-screen. For a while, they were the show's golden couple, fan favorites who managed to keep the details of their personal relationship mostly private. Even after their breakup in 2010, they maintained a professional facade, choosing not to badmouth each other in interviews. All seemed well, no messy feuds, no lingering animosity. Time passed, and both moved on to new relationships. Then, the tension surrounding It Ends With Us came to light. In an unexpected twist, Penn Badgley unfollowed Blake Lively on social media and started openly engaging with Justin Baldoni, who shared Penn's interest in introspection, emotional awareness, and spirituality. Penn's newfound devotion to the Baha'i faith, along with Justin's public emphasis on conscious living, created a strong bond between them. This move didn't look accidental. An unfollow in Hollywood is practically a public declaration, especially among celebrities who carefully curate their brand. Fans immediately took it as a sign that Penn was taking Justin's side in the conflict. It also indicated that old loyalties to Blake, his ex and former co-star, no longer outweighed his new convictions or friendships. Once again, people began questioning if behind-the-scenes interactions had altered Penn's perception of Blake. Was it something she said, something she did? Or was this simply about Penn's personal growth and alignment with Justin's worldview? Whichever it was, the result was the same. Yet another Hollywood connection slipped through Blake's fingers at a time when she needed every ally she could get. But Penn Badgley isn't the only former co-star who seems less than enthusiastic about Blake these days. Someone else who once shared the screen with her is also suspiciously quiet about their partnership, hinting that their on-set chemistry might have been masking unresolved tension. When A Simple Favor debuted in 2018, fans were enthralled by Anna Kendrick and Blake Lively's on-screen dynamic. Their characters had an enigmatic, playful friendship that pivoted into dark, comedic territory. Off-screen, however, rumors circulated that Anna and Blake didn't exactly see eye to eye. Some chalked it up to personality differences. Others claimed it went deeper than that, possibly stemming from Blake's close ties to Taylor Swift, an inner circle Anna never seemed a part of. What fueled the speculation were the interviews and press appearances during the promotional tour. Observant fans noticed that Anna frequently looked guarded whenever she shared the stage with Blake. Body language experts weighed in, pointing out the minimal eye contact and stiff smiles. Meanwhile, there was chatter that the studio wanted them to portray a best friend image to boost ticket sales. If so, they succeeded in front of the cameras, but behind the scenes, it was reportedly quite frosty. When a sequel to A Simple Favor was announced, many assumed any ill will between Anna and Blake had faded. Yet insiders insisted the tension remained. The difference this time is that Anna wasn't hiding her distant attitude so effectively. A few offhand remarks in interviews hinted that not every co-star is a joy to work with, and fans immediately connected the dots back to her rumored friction with Blake. Given how fiercely the public is turning against Blake in the It Ends With Us drama, Anna's silence is particularly telling. She hasn't jumped to Blake's defense, and in an industry where co-stars often express excitement about reuniting, Anna has stayed conspicuously low-key. Observers suspect that her stance is quite simple. She prefers to avoid any drama altogether, but isn't going out of her way to protect Blake. And so, the pattern grows clearer. People who once stood beside Blake, old friends, ex-boyfriends, family members, co-stars are either going quiet or pivoting away from her. Even the couple's longtime personal trainer, someone you'd imagine would remain neutral, has made moves that speak volumes about where his loyalties now lie. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds were once considered the perfect Hollywood couple. Their playful spats on social media and witty banter during interviews made them seem relatable, funny, and, above all, genuine. They appeared to dodge the typical pitfalls of celebrity relationships, all while maintaining a family-oriented image that set them apart from the usual star-studded drama. But as we've seen, even the most carefully curated personas can crack when the pressures of Hollywood power struggles, personal ambition, and broken promises catch up. Consider how quickly alliances have shifted. Taylor Swift, one of the industry's most influential figures, seems to be quietly closing the door on their friendship. Colleen Hoover, who once championed Blake for a role that could have catapulted her even further, has scrubbed her social media clean of any trace of support. Bart Johnson's public pivot suggests that the story he was initially fed might not have been the full truth. Scarlett Johansson's partnership with Justin Baldoni looks a lot like a silent stand against her ex-husband. Penn Badgley's quiet but decisive show of support for Baldoni highlights a moral stance that trumps old loyalties. Anna Kendrick remains guarded, treating her relationship with Blake as strictly professional and nothing more. And even Don Saladino, who seemed to be a permanent fixture in their corner, has wiped his digital slate clean of references to them. This level of exodus is rare, and it signals a monumental shift. Hollywood thrives on relationships, as every new collaboration, cameo, or supportive social media post can be the difference between a hit and a flop. For Blake and Ryan, losing such prominent allies might complicate future projects. It could also tarnish the public's perception of them. After all, audiences pay close attention to who stands by whom, especially when controversies arise. Is this the end of the line for Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds as Hollywood's golden couple? That remains to be seen. Often, celebrities find ways to bounce back, employing professional PR strategies, philanthropic gestures, or big career moves that overshadow past scandals. But given the breadth and depth of these rifts, damage control won't be simple. The allegations of manipulation, intimidation, and disregard for others' creative visions paint a portrait that stands in stark contrast to their usual brand.